Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle and I am the owner of LilyRoseCraftroom. And for today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to use a new product in my shop. It's called Twilight, and this is a very fine glitter. And it's used as an epoxy additive. And this is perfect for cups that you don't want like the full glitter on, but you want like a really nice design, like a spray painted base or a like a shipwreck tumbler, a wood grain tumbler. This is going to be perfect for cups like that. And I'm going to show you guys how a little bit goes a very long way. Alright, so this is Twilight, and this is how it's going to come in this small jar. And the weight of the product inside is 10 grams. And the reason it's so small is because a little bit will go a long way, and this is going to last you a long time. So let me open it. And the reason I named it Twilight is because it shines beautifully just like the vampires. Yes, that's my favorite movie. Don't judge me. Okay, so if I can get this to focus. Here is the shine of this. And it's very sparkly, but you guys know videos and pictures do not do this justice. So let me show you guys how you only need a tiny bit. So I'm gonna dab it with my finger. Just this much. Focus, come on. A little bit. And I'm gonna put it on my hand. And look how a little bit is just very shimmery. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys how this actually works on a tumbler. So let's get on to the video. I first prepped my cup by sanding it, and now I'm going to spray it with this vintage blush color by Rust-Oleum in satin. So I'm just going to spray this from a little bit far away, nice and even. I'm going to cover the whole entire thing. Don't oversaturate your cup with the spray paint because then you're going to have drips. If you need to, you can do it in 2 thin layers. Now that my tumbler is fully dry, we're going to epoxy it. Next, I'm going to use the quick coat epoxy. And I've been loving this epoxy just because it dries very fast and half the time of the original Amazing Clear Cast. So I'm going to be using 10 milliliters of each A and B to make it a total of 20 milliliters. I like to mix them in separate cups, that way I have the exact measurements. Next, I'm going to mix the epoxy together and I'm going to stir it. And you're going to want to stir it slowly. This video is sped up, so that's why it looks like I'm stirring fast. But just know that the faster you stir, the more air bubbles you're going to get. And you're going to mix until the epoxy turns clear. You don't want any fogginess or any ribbons inside. Next comes the fun part. We're going to add Twilight, the epoxy additive, into the epoxy. And here is that shine again. Look how beautiful it is. And with the popsicle stick, I'm just going to grab a small amount of it with the tip and add it into the epoxy. And look at how much you have left. With this epoxy additive, you only need a tiny amount. Next, we're going to stir slowly to make sure that the epoxy additive is evenly mixed in the epoxy. Now look at how shimmery your epoxy is. Now you're ready to apply the epoxy. As you're applying it, it's gonna look so beautiful. It looks like there's twinkling stars. And you're gonna apply this evenly around the cup. And like I said, this was a total of 20 milliliters for this 30-ounce skinny tumbler. And I do hit it with the torch, that way I pop any air bubbles that are on the cup. So here it is after the first epoxy layer. Next I'm going to be adding the decals. And you can add the decals straight after the first layer because the glitter is so fine, you're not even able to feel it. It feels really smooth. And for the second and final layer, I use 20 milliliters of epoxy again. And I'm also gonna add a little bit more Twilight so it can give it an extra shine. And all you need is just a small, tiny scoop. Make sure you mix it really good, that way it's evenly mixed within the epoxy. So next, you're gonna spread the epoxy evenly throughout the whole entire cup. And this is the final layer, so even though it does have the epoxy additive, it's gonna be very smooth. If you were to do it just with a regular glitter, the specks will be larger, and you're gonna also need another clear coat just so you won't be able to feel the glitter because it wouldn't be smooth for the final layer. After I'm done smoothing the epoxy, I like to go over it with my heat torch to pop any air bubbles. And here's how it looks as it's spinning dry. Look at that sparkle. Doesn't it just look like the vampire skin from Twilight? Alright guys, that's it for today's video, and like always, let me show you guys the finished look. So here it is. You can see the beautiful color of the spray paint, and you can also see the beautiful twinkling of Twilight. So this is how it came out. And I did use Twilight on the final layer of the epoxy, and the glitter is so fine you cannot feel it. It feels very smooth. And that's it for today's video on how to use the epoxy additive. If you'd like to purchase some, go to my website LilyRoseCraftroom and you can get your epoxy additive there. Thanks for watching guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.